Hey, it's Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this Madden Strategies video breakdown, want to take a look at attacking cover 3, spacing pass concept. And what the pass concept we want to show is what I just mentioned. It's called spacing. Very, very effective against a lot of zone coverage. Pretty much every single zone coverage in the game it can definitely be effective against. Cover 2 might be a little questionable, but cover 3, cover 4, cover 6, certainly a passing concept that's very effective against those three type of zone coverages. So what I want to do here is want to go ahead and take a look at the passing concept itself. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. As you can see, it's the spacing concept, as I've already mentioned. And what this features is 3 receivers that are usually in a bunch formation in most cases. You'll find it pretty much in every bunch formation. Now, it might be called spacing, it might be called spacing switch, but at any rate, it's got 3 routes. Generally, it's going to have a flat route, it's going to have a hitch route, and then it's going to have a what I like to call a sit or a spot route. And let's go ahead and take a look at it here in just a second. And as we get on the field here, and then you guys will kind of see a little bit more of what we're going to do with this particular concept. So let's go ahead and take a look at it on the field here. And what I'll show here is we're going to come out of the Steelers playbooks, the one that we're going to use for this particular breakdown. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. And as you can see on your screen right there, let's go ahead and just zoom in a little bit over here towards the right here and just take a look at this, because this is really where the spacing concept consists of. And as you look at it, you can see there are in fact 3 receivers lined up on the bunch side, and those are your 3 receivers that are running the spacing concept. So you got those 3 receivers. Let's zoom back out here. And what you're going to find is that, as I mentioned already when we first showed the breakdown, as we got into it, the inside receiver here is going to run this route right here. Now, this particular route happens to be a flat route out towards the right, and his route is designed to take the flat defender or the curl flat defender out of the particular area that we're looking to throw to. I'll show you the receiver in a second, that most of the cases is going to be open. Now, to the inside of him, or to the right of him, which is going to be the slot receiver, if you want to call him that, he'll be lined up right here, and what he runs is the sit route, and he just sits over the short middle of the field right there as you look at your screen. And then to the outside of this receiver, you're going to have the primary receiver for this particular concept, when this case is going to be the outside receiver here. And what he's going to do is he's just going to go ahead and run this little hitch route towards the right as you look at it. And a lot of times he'll be the receiver that will be open as far as with the spacing concept. Now, with the gun empty bunch formation that we're showing, let's go ahead and look at that real quick before we get back into it. Generally, when I break down a play, I usually actually show you the formation and the that we're going to run it from, and I forgot to show that to you. So let's go ahead and show it right there. As you can see on your screen right there, as you're looking at it, again, we'll go ahead and just zoom in on it here so you can kind of see what we're doing here with this. Move it over just a smidget so you can really see a little bit better. And there it is right there as you look at it. And what you can see here is this particular formation out of the Steelers playbook, the gun empty bunch, actually uses 11 personnel. So what you're going to find here is this happens to be a halfback lined up right here, and this is the tight end. And then you'll have these 3 receivers as you look at it in the formation. So you get 11 personnel here with the gun empty bunch out of the Steelers playbook. And if you're following along, we're going to use the Bengals playbook as well. It's on the defensive side of the ball. And we're going to start off with a cover 3 defense. Obviously, that's what we're attacking here. So let's go ahead and look at the first one that we're going to show here. Let's do it out of the Dollar Sugar 3-2, and we're going to use the cover 3 sky. So again, the name of the play that we're using for the spacing concept out of the Steeler playbook is out of the gun empty bunch called spacing. So let's go ahead and take a look at it and get back on the field here. So I kind of already mentioned to you guys about those receivers to the right in the bunch formation. Now, over to the left, you also have another effective route combination, which is called the quick game slant arrow lateral read. And what this one features is 2 receivers that are going to be running two routes that are pretty effective against cover three. Not going to get too much into it in this particular video breakdown. This is for another video breakdown I can do for attacking cover three. But just know that this guy right here, which is the slot receiver, he runs the flat or the arrow route. And then to the outside of him, which is going to be the outside receiver, he runs the slant route. So that's where you get the slant arrow combination as far as with the quick game that you can use to attack cover three. Just know that's also effective, and we'll do that in another video breakdown and talk about that, how it can attack cover three and why it would be effective. All right, so with that all said, let's go ahead and run this and just kind of give you an idea. There's the cover three coverages that we're going to run. And as I mentioned, for the most part, in most cases, the receiver that you're going to find open is this receiver here. As he runs that little hitch route, like I said, he'll be open in most cases. He'll go up in this area here and he'll sit. And then as you drop your quarterback back, you'll find that he'll be open in most cases. So let's go ahead and run this, and we'll just go ahead and run it. You'll see what happens here, and you can see why he gets so wide open. And there he goes right there. Now, a lot of times if you want to, is your quarterback's coming back and he's going to his, as soon as he drops back and stops, then you can go right there, you can throw it. And a lot of times he'll be wide open where you can make that throw against most of the cover three coverages. So that's the receiver that you're going to look through the throw to as you watch. Now, obviously, one of the things you want to do is you're running this play. Right now, as you look at it, the one thing as you're reading it, you can see as you look at the defense here, they're in a too high or too deep shell looking look there. So it almost looks like cover two. So at least your initial pre-snap read, at least against this particular defense, is probably going to be looking at it thinking cover two. So make sure as you're dropping back here, let's go into instant replay and take a look at this. When you're running this and you're not 100% sure of what they're doing, you still want to read those safeties. So when that ball snapped, you can see the rotation there as you're looking at it. You can clearly see that the safety right there is dropping into cover one or into at least a one deep look. And that's what you're seeing right there. So you know right there it's cover three. And then at that point, you ought to have a pretty good idea. Something else you can watch for is you can watch to see if there's any defender coming out here to cover the flat. If you see one, then you know darn well that you got that route open. As far as I mentioned earlier, this route right here, you know that you can find him open when he turns around and you're making that throw on time, and you'll see he's wide open. Also, as I talked about earlier, the flat route here is designed to take away the flat defender or the curl flat defender. In this case, it should be this guy right here, I believe, who's playing the curl flat. You're seeing him going over in that direction. Now, you may have to wait just a split second, but you can make that throw there even though as long as he's open, you can make that throw. Also, don't forget that the flat receiver is also an option to throw to with this particular concept. So if you can see it open, you feel like you can pick up 4 or 5 yards. There's nothing wrong with taking that throw over here to the tight end as he goes into the flat. If you think you can get that pass to him, by all means, throw that over there. But generally, a lot of people like to throw, in most cases, at least with me, I like to throw that out receiver right there. So just keep that in mind as you're watching this breakdown here. All right, so that's against cover three there, against cover three sky. Let's go look at another cover three coverage with this particular formation and spacing concept from it. So let's go ahead and get into this one and run it with another pass coverage, or at least a cover three coverage. So this time, let's go into the dime, and let's run this one against the buzz cover three buzz press, and see what that one does. And you can end up seeing why it's still effective against this particular coverage as well, even though it's a different variation of cover three coverage, but you're going to find it's still the same results for the most part. So let's go ahead and run it. And again, you can see the same results. He ends up getting open. And this is even more really showing why the spacing concept's effective, because of that flat route. As you go back and look at it, let's go ahead and go in here and take a look at this again. If you look, you can look and zoom in here. Zoom in a little bit on this. You can see as you're looking at it that this defender right here, he's going out to cover that flat route. So he's going over here to cover that flat route. And then that leaves, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to leave this receiver wide open where you can make that throw. If you work your way back over here, you're going to notice that this receiver right here may not be as open. In this case, you've got a got the linebacker dropping in there. Now, again, I don't want to talk too much about the slant arrow route combination, but over here you can also see that receiver's open. Again, that's another breakdown for a later time. But as I mentioned, this particular receiver against most cover 3 coverages is the one that's going to be open. Now, what I want to do here is I want to go into another cover 3 coverage. We'll take a look at another one here and just kind of give you some different ideas that this is pretty effective as far as attacking pretty much all the cover 3 coverages in the game. I will show you one that seems to do a little bit better job at it, and this is cover 3 buzz match. So let's go ahead and look at that one. And you can see that, oops, not empty tray there, sorry about that, bunch. And let's go back into this again, into the spacing concept. So this particular coverage, the buzz match does a little better job at covering it, but he's still going to be open. You just got to wait a little bit longer. And right there, and there's the thing right there, that's what I was talking about earlier. It's not quite as open as it was against some of the other cover 3s because you still can get in there, but the window's certainly a lot tighter to throw to that receiver. Also, as I mentioned earlier, you can always throw over here. If you don't think you can get it in there, you can always throw it over there and make that throw as well to the halfback going out of the backfield and just pick up some yards right there. We picked up 4 yards. So there's nothing wrong picking up 4 to 5 yards as well, even against if you can't throw it to the other receiver that's running that route. So that's against some of the various cover 3 coverages in the game that you'll find with the spacing concept. It does an excellent job at attacking that type of coverage, mainly because I want to show you one last thing while we're in here, because you get a triangle look. And I'm going to show you the triangle here. So basically what you're doing is you're isolating 2 defenders on 3 receivers in most cases, and that's what makes it real effective. So let's go back in here one last time and look at the bunch formation with this particular formation. Anyways, the empty bunch. Also, if I got a little bit, since I got some extra time here, I'll go ahead and show you the gun bunch formation, and that's going to be the spacing switch. So let's go back in here again and run this against the cover 3 sky, because I want to show you the triangle look of here, what you're going to get with a triangle. Okay, so there we go with that. So let's look at this here, and I want to show you what makes this pretty effective against this particular coverage. I don't know if you'll see the triangle as well here is from this particular set, but you definitely, at least against this formation, but you can see right there as you look at it. Let's show you the triangle here in a second here. The idea here is to get three receivers on 2 defenders, and if you're looking at it, I think you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So here's the triangle, at least what I'm trying to show. So there's your 3 receivers as you look at it. Those are the 3 receivers. And then there's your 2 defenders. So you're getting 3 receivers matched up with 2 defenders and getting a triangle, meaning that those 2 defenders cannot cover 3 receivers. And that's what the concept is about, trying to attack. So hopefully that'll give you an idea of why this is effective against cover 3. Because again, you're trying to get the triangle and you're trying to get 3 receivers matched up against 2 defenders. Let's go in one last thing here, and let's talk about one of the out of the gun bunch formation, not so much the gun bunch, the empty gun bunch, but the actual gun bunch. And I'm a huge fan, always have been a huge fan of this particular formation because I think there's a lot of things you can do out of it. But the spacing switch is the one that you'll run here when you find it from the Steelers playbook. And let's go ahead and run it against, again, against that cover 3 sky. And we'll go ahead and run it one more time here and just show you. The main difference here is, as we talked about earlier, the tight end was running this route over here, if you remember right. So you had something like this. You had it like more like this. You had this guy going to the inside here. You had the you had this receiver running this route, which was the primary receiver before. And then you also had the flat receiver, which is the tight end. That was out of the gun empty bunch. In the spacing switch form play, or at least concept, it's a little bit different. Instead of having the tight end running that, he now becomes the play's primary receiver. So he runs this route right here. And then you're still going to have the inside slot receiver running the sit route. And then on the outside, you're going to have this receiver more or less running a flat route. It's more or less what he runs, which is the outside receiver. So you still get the concept. And if you look over here towards the left, instead of getting the slants, the quick game slant arrow concept, you get basically the flat, and you get like a slant hook route over here to the left as you're looking at it over here, as you're looking in this side over here. But at any rate, I'm not going to get too much in that one. But look over here towards the right. Let's go ahead and run it, and I'll just show you real quick that the same results are there as it was from the gun bunch empty with the spacing concept, the same results. The one difference is, as you might note as you're watching this, the one major difference is, at least against this particular formation or coverage, is that you don't quite get it as defined, or the passing window in some cases isn't quite the same as you look at it, mainly because this receiver here, as you're looking at, he's covered a little bit tighter. Remember, he's more over here in the gun empty spacing concept, whereas here in the gun bunch, he's right there. So he's not quite as open right here. This receiver is not quite as open as before, but still, he's still open. You can still make the throw. Just note that he may not be as open, is what I'm trying to tell you. So at any rate, as you can see, the spacing concept definitely does a nice job at attacking cover 3 coverages. Hey Madden gamers, if you enjoy this Madden video or any other video, please subscribe to the Madden Guides YouTube channel. And as always, thanks for watching and for your support.